Hey football fans, welcome back to Pitch, Pit and Punch. It's your boy TK, and if you love football reactions, stats, hot takes every week, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit subscribe, smash that like button, and leave a comment below. Trust me guys, every bit of engagement really helps this community and channel grow, and I'd love you guys to assist me in growing as a family. With that being said, yesterday we had an awesome night with jam-packed UEFA fixtures. I want to break down four of my favorites, which is the Arsenal game, the Real Madrid Liverpool game, the PSG game, as well as the Tottenham game. So let's break things down, and I'll be touching on stats, goal scorers, as well as just a quick review on each game. Let's go! Starting with the Slavia Prague versus Arsenal game. Now, this game yesterday came with a little bit of trickiness, specifically on Arsenal's side, seeing that it is an away fixture. Victor Gyökeres picked up an injury in his weekend's game, so that means that Arsenal currently do not have a striker, because all three of their strikers in Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, as well as Victor Gyökeres are out. Now, this is why this was a little tricky, knowing that Arteta was also going to rotate a lot of the squad, mainly due to the fact that it is time for them to actually rest, especially against a smaller opponent. But the way the game went, Arsenal ended up winning it 3-0, and the goal scorers in Bukayo Saka with the penalty, as well as the makeshift striker in Mikel Merino grabbing a brace of his own. With that being said, if you had to look at the stats, I know that in recent years with Mikel Arteta's project that he's growing, Arsenal had improved. Everyone had seen that, and everyone had a lot less criticism on Arsenal. However, no one took them as a serious club. But this season, even as an Arsenal fan, I am seeing a difference in terms of the way they approach games, the way they manage games, and the way that opposition fans are talking about Arsenal. And there is a lot of praise, specifically in how they have built a defensive unit. Listen to this stat. Arsenal now have won they lost 8 games in all competitions without conceding. That's 8 clean sheets in a row, and that's a joint record for an English top flight team, alongside Preston, who did it in 1889, and Liverpool, who also did it in 1920. Now, looking at their makeshift striker, Arteta was brave enough last season, when we had no strikers, to actually push Mikel Merino up there. And I'm sure he mainly did it due to the fact that he is a bigger and taller player. However, his football IQ is amazing. And he stepped up yet again. We've seen what he's been doing for Spain, and he actually came in and got a brace. That was unbelievable, because his positioning is really amazing. When you saw his first goal where Trossard had crossed in, he made it look easy in terms of it being a tap-in. And we've seen many of those get skied through the roof, or go wide, or have lack of power because the keeper will get it. Second goal, that had to go all to Declan Rice in terms of his assist. But the fact that he got a head to it and that it was still on target is what amazed me. Now, when looking at that, this basically was a very comprehensive game for Arsenal. It was not easy at all. Slavia Prague's home fans make that atmosphere extremely hostile. Their players came out and played extremely aggressive, and eventually they tired out. And that's why in the second half, Arsenal started dominating the game. They had clinical finishing and they really kept a solid defense. Now, the crazy thing about this defense is that they didn't even allow a single shot on target. And this is not the first or the second time that Arsenal have actually done this in their fixtures throughout all competitions. With the UEFA Champions League phase, I'd rather say, this win basically keeps them in the top 8, comfortably so, where most teams want to finish in the top 8, because remember, top 8 teams don't play in the round of 16. They only start playing in the quarterfinals. With that being said, now I have 2 questions for you guys. First question I want to know: when Arsenal are in full flow, do they seem to be like they are really going to be title contenders? Or do you guys think that it's just the quality of teams that they're playing that make them look like they are better than what they should be? Second question for you guys when it comes to Arsenal: with Mikel Merino showing that his form in attack is very clinical, should Arsenal consider him as a permanent striking option? Or will this be a once-off, and once Gyökeres and Havertz comes back, they won't necessarily need to put him in that position? Drop your comments below. Let me know. I'd love to engage with you guys. When you look at their upcoming fixtures, before the international break, they've got Sunderland away. That's not going to be easy. And that's Granit Xhaka coming up against his old or former club. Then after the international break, the biggest UEFA game for them is Bayern Munich. Now, we all know they always come second best when it comes to Munich. And this is an enticing fixture because we have one team that does not want to concede goals versus a team that has won 14 games in a row and always scores goals. So, can't wait for that fixture. But for now, the UEFA game was amazing. Really showed great bravery from the manager, bravery from the players. And also, a shout out goes out to Max Downman for being the youngest ever UEFA player to play at the age of 15 for a senior team. Wow, just absolutely amazing. For me, the fixture of the night in terms of build-up and hype and anticipation had to be Liverpool versus Real Madrid at Anfield. Honestly speaking, I did make a video before this. I am not surprised at the result. The previous video that I posted speaking to Liverpool fans, I did mention that you guys need to just take a deep breath. I knew that Liverpool would actually favor games against Real Madrid as well as Manchester City, because all the games that they've struggled with this season have been against Premier League teams who play a different type of football, one that doesn't necessarily favor Liverpool, meaning the high balls, the long throws, where Real Madrid and Manchester City keep the ball on the ground. And that is one of the reasons why they beat Aston Villa over the weekend to end their losing streak. And let's be honest, guys, they absolutely dominated this game against the Real Madrid squad that has been tearing things up. We saw what they did to Barcelona, and I'm sure a lot of people were hoping that this would be an embarrassing night for Liverpool, especially you Man United fans. I know that for a fact. So let's look at the game itself. Liverpool ended up winning this 1-0 at Anfield. The crowd was amazing. I honestly got goosebumps in the beginning when you guys sang your theme song. And the goal scorer, in a set piece, mind you, was Mac Allister. Oh, Alexis, man. There's been a lot of basically negativity towards him only because he was slow in terms of finding his speed. And Dominic Szoboszlai, as we know, came with the perfect delivery and he headed it right through Courtois. Honestly speaking, I don't think any keeper was really going to save that. When you look at the stats, Real Madrid recorded only 2 shots on target in the whole match. That absolutely speaks to how Liverpool dominated such a dominating Real Madrid squad. Now, in terms of my opinions or how I reviewed the game, I think that this was a massive statement and a massive night for the club, as well as the players, manager, and fans. It wasn't just about picking up 3 points in this league format. It was about shutting down a continental heavyweight, showing discipline, belief, especially under such obvious huge pressure. The psychological boost going into the rest of the group stage is super immense. I honestly think that this is a great way to kick off Liverpool's consistency regarding figuring things out, and especially under Arne Slot, who has actually, let's give him praise, managed to show us that he can change things up, make brave decisions, and is tactically astute to go head to head with the biggest teams in this world. And honestly speaking, for Real Madrid, it raises serious questions about their ability to break down a well-drilled side and create enough clear chances. Now, I also have a question for you, Liverpool fans, or anyone else who's not a Liverpool fan. Let me know what your opinion is on the following question. Does this result show Liverpool are genuine contenders in Europe again? Or was Real Madrid simply off the pace last night? Which side has more to worry about going forward, especially in this competition? Please let me know, guys. Drop that comment. Let's engage, and I'd love to read your opinions. In terms of Liverpool's next fixtures, they've got a juicy Super Sunday fixture at the Etihad Stadium against Manchester City. This win, if they do get it, will mean that they've won their last 3 games in a row and can finally look forward and forget about that horrid 4 to 5 or 6 or 7 losses that they've had, almost all in a row. But with that being said, after the international break, they will be going to, or I think they'll be hosting PSV Eindhoven, which should be a standard win for them, especially with a manager who knows that league extremely well. Last night was absolutely full of blockbusters. Not only did we have a Liverpool versus Real Madrid match, but we also had the current defending UEFA champions in PSG hosting Bayern Munich. Now, this fixture, I honestly couldn't predict who was going to win, only on the basis that PSG, who are current champions, had many injuries on their list and players who just recently came back from injury. So they were not necessarily the final squad that actually dominated Europe. Then we've got Bayern Munich, where we've got Vincent Kompany, the manager, who is doing absolutely amazing things at Munich, and honestly speaking, surprised most people in terms of how he's elevated Munich to become a scary club in Europe. Now, looking at the results, we had Bayern Munich, who actually won the game 2-1, even with 10 men. With that being said, when we look at the game, we've got David Luiz, who scored the brace for Munich. He had an amazing game, bar the fact that he had a horrific challenge on one of the PSG players, which actually caused them to be sent off. When we look at the stats, we have Luis Diaz, who became only the second player in the history of UEFA Champions League to score twice and be sent off in the same match. The first one was Antoine Griezmann in October of 2021 for Atletico Madrid. Then we see Bayern Munich's win in Paris basically shows that as a club right now under Vincent Kompany, they have winning mentality and big match temperament, especially away to a heavyweight such as PSG. In terms of my quick review, I would basically say that this match was a roller coaster, specifically for Munich, who basically scored the first and second goal with the Diaz brace, and that gave them control. But that red card could have cost them dearly. I don't know how they hung on, but that also speaks to their ability to control games and actually hog that possession. The mentality shown suggests that they are big contenders who really mean business and that they look hungry for this tournament. With that being said, I do have a question for you guys, so please engage and drop your answers in the comment section. My question goes as follows: was Bayern's showing brave or reckless? Scoring 2 then losing a man early? And for PSG, is this the sign that the Champions League window may be closing and that they might not be able to defend it this season? It's still early, so I'd love to know what you guys think. Please let me know, and I'll definitely hit a like on all of my favorite comments. Now we've got Tottenham versus Copenhagen. Now, this wasn't the most exciting game on paper. However, as someone who follows the Premier League, it was intriguing for me just to see if Tottenham can actually play a lot better in terms of reacting to their loss to Chelsea. Now, Copenhagen, as a Danish team, they are not necessarily the biggest threat to a lot of Premier League teams. And last night really showed that, where Tottenham won the game comfortably with a 4-0 win against Copenhagen. Now, when we look at the goal scorers, we've got Brennan Johnson, who opened the account, and then Wilson Odobet got in with the second goal. And honestly, the goal of the tournament thus far, or if you had to put as a solo goal effort, this would definitely be the best solo goal effort in this season, had to come from Mickey van der Ven, who from his half deep into the defensive line ran right through everyone to score an amazing goal in the other end of the box. Then to top it off, we had João Paulinho, who scored the 4th goal, and before then the game was already done and sealed. That was just the cherry on top of the cake for the Spurs fans. Now, looking at the stats, Van der Ven's goal, this goal was really amazing. As an Arsenal fan, I don't love seeing Tottenham have great nights, but as a football lover, you cannot deny how beautiful this goal was. Honestly speaking, Van der Ven's goal was described as one that will be replayed for years. As a solo effort, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And we had Tottenham, who remained unbeaten in 22 UEFA Champions League home matches dating back to 2020-2021, where they won 18 games and drew 4 after this win. Then we've got Johnson, who became the first British player to score and then be sent off in a UEFA Champions League match. Now, just looking at my review on things, I think Tottenham absolutely turned it on. In terms of a reactionary game, after the Chelsea game, they truly showed that they can actually get goals from other places. Despite being down to 10 men after Johnson's red, they didn't flinch. Van der Ven's all-action goal was the icing on the cake, and a statement of intent. For Copenhagen, it was a nightmare of a night and the end of a series hopes, especially I think for them in this UEFA campaign. I don't see them actually bouncing back thoroughly. Then for Tottenham, this one restores belief, especially for the fans and the club itself, in terms of getting, continuing that momentum in Europe, especially as the defending Europa League champs. And definitely a night for a huge boost, especially seeing who they'll be playing next in the Premier League. Now, my question for you guys when it comes to Tottenham, does Van der Ven's solo goal make him one of Europe's elite defenders now? And will Tottenham's UEFA Champions League resurgence carry into the Premier League against Man United this weekend? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'd love to read your answers and your opinions. That's it from me. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you really enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you subscribe and please smash that like button. I'd love to read all your thoughts, especially on those 4 questions I posed. Now, which team surprised you the most? And where do you see things going from here? I'll be back soon with more match reactions, stats and predictions across the weekend. Until then, pitch and punch out.